right, we're here to talk about SteadyLock. SteadyLock is a huge time saver for installers like yourself. So the days of requiring you to sit here and hold that scan lock wire and hope that the thing steps backwards in its pattern and it goes to steady so that you can then go wire it up to a vehicle like that, that's over. Now you can just pull the product out of the bag, stick it onto that vehicle wherever you're mounting it, connect it to the output expansion, connect it to the core, however your install is gonna be. And when you're ready to program this thing, you hit a button in command, bam, everything goes to SteadyLock, time saved, no more hassle dealing with these light heads on the bench.
It's gonna be a huge time saver for the installer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the evolution of SteadyLock is basically us trying to solve problems for the installers. So Steve, before SteadyLock, how was it for you to deal with the install, like when you would be incorporating some ions or M series or
It was a time-consuming process because you'd take each light, hook up your ground, and then your trigger for each color, and individually set each color to steady using the scan lock wire.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point because you think about a solo light head, that's just one color. If you have duo or trio light heads, you've got to perform that function for every color. So it's almost as if you've got 3 light heads in one that you've got to set to steady.
Yep, and then that multiplies by how many times that light or a trio or duo light is on a vehicle.
Right.
That prep process was usually done on a bench prior to starting the build. Take all your lights out, take them out of the bag, set them up, and go one by one through the whole vehicle until everything is done.
That doesn't sound fun, so we fixed that for you guys. And basically, what you do now is that entire process is gone. You don't have to worry about it. You can rip open that bag, because we know that everybody likes to just rip those bags open, and take that light head out, install it on the vehicle. Let's say that you don't have an idea what flash pattern it's in. You don't know if it's in flash pattern 1, 37, 48, 50, you don't know. It doesn't matter. You take the light head, you stick it onto the vehicle, and once you apply the SteadyLock feature, it will automatically set everything to steady.
You don't even have to touch the scan lock or sync wire anymore. Just cap them off if you're not using them. Make sure water doesn't get in there. And then you go through with command and it goes output by output, setting those lights in each color of that light to steady.
There's really no difference between the light heads pre-SteadyLock and the release of SteadyLock. They look the same, they act the same, they have the same functionality. So in order for us to tell the difference between these light heads as they start to get into the industry and there's different stock levels and people are trying to figure it out, every SteadyLock product will have a lock symbol on the part number, model number label. So that is your identifier to understand whether or not the light head has SteadyLock or it does not have SteadyLock.
So what products are going to be available with SteadyLock integrated into them?
Great question. So the Ion series, the Ion B series, the T series, the Mini T, the M series, and the Strip Light Plus is the first rollout of SteadyLock. That was the, lion's share of the product that we thought was the most critical to tackle first. So time, right? That's the biggest thing with SteadyLock. I think that's the huge problem that we saw was there was a significant amount of time getting used getting light heads set up to be operated by core. So from your perspective, how much time do you think we saved?
The time frame spent on the vehicle really depends on what's going into the vehicle and the size of the vehicle.
Okay.
In the prep process, it could be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and up for programming light heads to steady burn, depending on how many light heads are on that vehicle.
Wow. So that just went down to like essentially 10, 15 seconds.
With SteadyLock, you go into command, pull down SteadyLock, click your outputs, hit a sign, and you can walk away from the computer.
And it's done in roughly...
It's done...
Depending on the amount of
It's done
outputs.
in a couple of minutes, if that.
Yeah. So I think one of the key things to remember too about SteadyLock is that when you pull a product out of the bag, you know that like it's gonna be in pattern 1. But what if someone comes along and changes the scan lock pattern on the bench and you don't know? You don't have to worry about that anymore. because no matter how, whatever state that light head is in, once it receives a steady lock pattern, it's just gonna set it to steady.
That is an issue on the end when you're trying to test out your configuration, something's not working the way you want it to, going crazy trying to chase your tail, and the pattern on that one light isn't set to steady. You're gonna get a different outcome than what you're looking for.
So how fun is that when that happens on an install?
It's aggravating, and that, again, that's another waste of time where now you're chasing problems. Yeah, you're pulling the light off the vehicle, going back to a bench, or having to change your configuration to have some kind of input set that light to steady burn on the programming side to see what pattern that light's on. And then you have to either scan back to your default pattern and find steady, or you're doing a default, setting the light to default on that.
As long as you are putting all steady lock light heads on there, you are guaranteed that these things are going to be the steady, and that therefore, as long as your programming is appropriate, like you've kind of eliminated like a troubleshooting point.
It's also an easy way to troubleshoot, where if you have a light not doing what you're telling it to do, you can go in, run it through steady lock again, if that fixes your problem.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. So you kind of get that recognition like, yep, everything isn't steady, it must be something else.
Yes.
Nice. So scan lock is still there. Again, all the functionality that everyone is used to with these light heads is exactly the same as it was before this. So all the other functionality, your low power, your scan lock, all of that remains the same. Here we are at a actual install where you're utilizing steady locks. All right, so walk me through this.
So you go up to the W in the top left corner.
Yep.
Go down to assign steady lock. When the steady lock window pops up, you're just gonna click and choose the outputs that you want to steady lock.
And again, right there, you selected those. You could select all, but it would just take a little bit longer because it would want to register through every light.
It's gonna go through every output instead of just the 6 from each expansion that are running the front push bar lights. So once you have your output selected, click on assign.
So as you can see, it's stepping through. You get the notification that everything is setting to steady. Goes through each color, each output.
So when is this going to be available, John?
This is available today. Just need to make sure you download the latest update for Command. Make sure you update all your firmware and keep an eye out on the back of the light head for the lock symbol to let you know that light head has steady lock. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, just reach out to your local rep for more information and details.